Governor Threx watched the sky burn. From the highest tower of Virex 9's capital dome, he stood silently as the blue haze of the upper atmosphere twisted with fire and falling wreckage. The Zyrak bombardment had continued for 31 hours without pause. Power grids flickered. The planetary shield had collapsed 6 hours ago. The orbital defense ring was gone. Not destroyed. Erased. Behind him, alarms howled. His advisors argued, panic in their voices. He ignored them. A slender voice broke through the chaos. "They're not coming, are they?" Threx turned. A young officer, Sub-Commander Noel, stood behind him, pale green skin shimmering with fear. Barely past her hatching cycle. Brave enough to ask what everyone feared. "No," Threx said calmly. "They aren't." The council chamber fell silent. Ambassador Velis, always the cynic, exhaled with theatrical exasperation. "I told you. The humans disappeared a century ago. They got bored of the galaxy's endless war games and went home. They're extinct, retired, or evolved into smoke." Newell glanced at the shattered sky. "But the beacon," Velis cut in, "was tradition. Like tossing a prayer into a black hole." Threx finally turned from the window. His scales were dull with age, but his voice still held steel. "We activated the signal because we had nothing else. Not because we believed." Noel looked down. "Still, they used to say humans kept their promises. They also said humans once declared war using cake," Velis muttered. "Do you believe that too?" A console beeped. "Low priority warning, surface impact imminent." One of the aides shouted. "They're targeting the civilian shelters." Threx growled. "Divert remaining shielding to Sector 14. Get those people underground. Now." In orbit, the Zyrak fleet adjusted positions with eerie precision. Cold-blooded tacticians, the Zyrak didn't fight wars, they harvested victories. Their ships resembled blades in motion, each one sleek and jet-black, built for efficient extermination. In the bridge of the command vessel Cruelty's Dawn, the Zyrak General Rotsis clicked his mandibles in irritation. "Why hasn't the colony surrendered?" An aide, smaller and trembling, replied. "They're stalling. Waiting for help." "From whom?" Rotsis hissed. "The humans, perhaps." A pause. Then laughter. Cold. Hissing. "Humans." As if ghosts returned to battle. Back on Virex 9, the council bunker was vibrating with indirect strikes. Lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Noel clutched the edge of a table, eyes darting toward the emergency comms. "I want to believe," she said. "I've read the stories. How they never abandoned allies." Threx looked at her weary. "Belief is a luxury of the young." Just then, everything stopped. The lights flickered once more, then held steady. Sirens went silent. Even the Zyrak's orbital bombardment ceased. For a breathless moment, there was only quiet. Then the sensors howled. A gravitational anomaly bloomed at the edge of the system, massive, sharp, focused. As if space itself was being torn. The comms officer gasped. "Something's emerging from subspace." "Show us," Threx snapped. The main screen flared to life. Static, then clarity. A single ship glided into orbit, slow, deliberate, huge. Its hull matte black, angular, bristling with hard points. One long scar stretched across its prow, as if it had survived something ancient. Painted in white, in human script across the side. TDS kindly go away. Terran Peacecraft, Diplomatic Corps. Velis leaned in, squinting. "That can't be real," Noel whispered. "Is it smiling at us?" They all saw it now. The ship had a large, white, stylized grin painted across the front armor. Before anyone could speak, a voice crackled over the planetary comms, calm, cheerful, slightly amused. "This is Captain Elias Drake of the Terran diplomatic ship Kindly Go Away. Sorry for the late arrival. Traffic in the void, you know how it is." Everyone stared. Drake's voice continued, impossibly casual. We picked up your beacon. You folks having a spot of trouble down there? Threx stepped forward, stunned. This is Governor Threx of Hfy 9. Are you real? Depends who's asking, Governor. But for the sake of your lovely skyline, I'd recommend telling your guests up there to stop pointing guns at civilians. Velis blinked. Is he sipping something? The visual feed snapped on. Captain Drake appeared on screen. Human male, maybe mid-40s, crisp uniform, boots up on the console, a ceramic mug in one hand. Peacekeeping coffee, he said, raising the mug. Special blend. Threx recovered his composure. You came alone? Drake's smile widened. Let's call it diplomatic minimalism. In orbit, General Rotsis's screen blared with warnings. TDS signal confirmed. A Zyrak technician rasped. Human vessel. Power readings abnormal. What's it doing? As if in response, the kindly go away turned slightly, and one of its port weapons deployed, a long, rotating cannon, humming softly. Then, a single beam of orange light lashed out across space. Silent. Precise. One of the Zyrak frigates exploded. Cleanly. No debris. The humans hadn't attacked. They'd demonstrated. Drake's voice echoed across channels. That was your warning shot. Standard Terran diplomacy package. Comes with coffee, sarcasm, and orbital suppression. We like to be efficient. On Hfy 9, the council chamber had gone still. Noel broke the silence. I thought they were extinct. Threx stared at the ship above, jaw tight. No. They just stopped caring. Velis exhaled. Worse. They started waiting. Back on the bridge of the kindly go away, Captain Drake lowered his mug, watching sensor data scroll. His first officer, a pale woman with a scar through her eyebrow, leaned over. Should I power the fleet? Drake smiled without humor. Not yet. Let them think it's just us. She nodded. I'll keep the others on standby. He sipped again. Let's give them the illusion of hope. Makes the fall more educational. Captain Elias Drake tapped the side of his mug and stared at the holographic projection of the Zyrak fleet. Red blips bloomed like irritated wasps circling a fire. The fire, in this case, was his ship. Rude little things, he muttered. You'd think vaporizing one of their frigates would earn some manners. Lieutenant Commander Vera Chowdhury, seated beside him, didn't look up from her tactical console. We've intercepted their internal chatter. They think we're bluffing. Drake smiled. Perfect. Bluffing is always more effective when it's not. Down on Hfy 9, the council chamber was a flurry of anxious motion. Governor Threx stood motionless in the center, eyes fixed on the feed from orbit. Ambassador Velis paced behind him, muttering. What is he doing? That ship is alone. They're toying with the Zyrak. We'll all die because some human forgot how numbers work. Sub-Commander Newell, still glued to her console, blinked at incoming transmissions. He's requesting permission to land. Threx turned slowly. He wants to land. During a siege. Newell nodded. He called it a friendly drop-by. Threx sighed. Patch him through. The council screen blinked to life, revealing Captain Drake once more, now standing and adjusting a pristine uniform jacket. Hello again, Governor. Thought I'd stretch my legs. We brought snacks. Threx's voice was dry. You intend to walk into an active war zone with refreshments? Drake grinned. Terran diplomacy works best face to face. We find the eye contact helps discourage orbital extermination. Velis cut in. You understand the Zyrak don't negotiate. They conquer. They'll negotiate with me, Drake said, pouring more coffee from a thermos. They just don't know it yet. 10 minutes later, a black shuttle descended like a slow-moving dagger into Hfy 9's main plaza. Its surface shimmered with a shielding field that deflected both dust and all. Drake stepped out first, flanked by 2 human officers in identical suits, unarmed, smiling, and walking like they owned the place. Aliens gathered from behind ruins, poking their heads out cautiously. One child whispered, "Are those humans?" Another answered, "They look normal." The Terran team walked through crumbling stone and fallen banners as if they were touring a museum. Drake stopped at the base of the council dome and looked up at Threx, who had come to meet him personally, out of equal parts respect and disbelief. "Governor Threx," Drake said with a respectful nod. "Love what you've done with the place. Very post-apocalyptic chic." Threx studied him. "You think this is a joke?" "Only parts of it. Like the Zyrak calling this a victory. That's hilarious." Threx narrowed his eyes. "Why are you really here?" Drake's tone shifted slightly. Still polite, but colder. "We don't like what's happening in this sector. And the last time humanity ignored a problem this ugly, it ended in a crater the size of Africa." Threx hesitated. "So you came to fight?" "No," Drake said. "We came to end it." Up in orbit, the Zyrak fleet began shifting. General Rotzis snarled at the report. "The human has landed? On the surface? Alone?" "3 of them, General." "Kill them." He rose from his throne of coiled metal, his voice a hiss of fury. "I want that planet glassed in the next hour. No exceptions." But as he issued the command, the lights dimmed. The crew looked around. Then every screen in the Zyrak command ship flickered, once, twice, before stabilizing into a single image. "Captain Drake?" "Hello, General Rotzis. I hear you're upset." The Zyrak commander lunged forward. "How did you get access to our systems?" Drake sipped from his thermos. "I asked nicely. Your ship's security AI had surprisingly low self-esteem." Rotzis screamed. "This is war!" Drake smiled, cool and measured. "No, this is diplomacy. But if you insist." He turned his head slightly. "Betty status?" A chirpy voice replied, cheerful as a spring breeze. "Hi. I've tagged all Zyrak vessels with soft target prioritization. All war-capable systems are under passive lockdown. Shall I continue with full override?" Rotzis shouted. "What is this?" Drake's smile didn't reach his eyes. "This is a Terran peace craft. Which means we only fire when absolutely necessary. But if you'd like to volunteer as an educational example, Betty's more than qualified." Back on the ground, Threx watched as Zyrak's ships began pulling back. Noel stared at her readings. "Their weapon systems are frozen. Some have shut down completely." Velis looked at Drake. "You jammed an entire fleet?" Drake shook his head. "Didn't jam. We just persuaded their tech to sit this one out." Threx finally understood. "You were never alone." Drake nodded. "We never are. But we're quiet these days. We learned that silence makes a better entrance." Aboard the Kindly Go Away, Vera stood at the central console as small indicators lit up, fleet signals, cloaked and hidden until now, appearing across the system. 70 Terran ships. Cruisers. Support vessels. A dreadnought named Tactful Murder. All motionless. All waiting. Vera opened comms. "Fleet confirmed. All ships in position. Standing by." Drake's voice echoed calmly. "Let's keep them in the dark a little longer. No need to ruin the surprise." The Zyrak were unraveling. Some captains tried to flee, only to find their drives offline. Others issued distress calls. The fleet's communication grid turned into chaos. Rotzis, in a desperate move, ordered a direct ground strike. One of his lieutenants objected. "Sir, if we attack now, we might—" "Fire!" Rotzis roared. From orbit, one last missile launched, black, sleek, loaded with enough force to vaporize half the city. It never made it. In a blinding flash, a railgun slug from the Kindly Go Away intercepted the missile mid-arc. The resulting explosion was silent in space, but visible across the sky like a second sun. Drake looked up casually. "Poor impulse control. It's a leadership epidemic, really." Back in the council chamber, Velis sank into a chair. "They're not soldiers. They're puppeteers," Noel whispered. "Why wait a century to come back? Drake turned, overhearing. His voice, for once, held no humor. Because we gave the galaxy a chance to grow up. We hoped it would. But we've been watching. Listening. Preparing. And when the screaming started again, we decided. He glanced upward, toward the stars. Enough was enough. High above Virex 9, the stars shimmered unnaturally. To most eyes, it was a trick of gravity and heat distortion, residual noise from the Zyrax's failed assault. But to Terran sensors, it was a curtain of illusions peeling back. One by one, ships decloaked across the sector. A fleet, silent and vast, emerged from the darkness like leviathans from deep water. Sleek black hulls, angular and unadorned, formed a loose ring around the planet. Cruisers. Interceptors. Carriers. Dreadnoughts. All Terran. All waiting. On the bridge of the Kindly Go Away, Lieutenant Commander Vera's voice was dry. So much for subtlety. Captain Elias Drake folded his hands behind his back, posture relaxed. They wanted to know if we were bluffing. I find overwhelming evidence tends to end debates. She arched a brow. And the Zyrak? He sipped his coffee. Panicking. Which is healthy. Builds character. In the command deck of the Zyrak flagship Cruelty's Dawn, General Rotsis stared at the tactical display with genuine horror. Red dots, Terran warships, now filled the system like a spreading disease. How long have they been here? He hissed. Unknown, came the whispered reply. Then find out. A junior tactician stepped forward, trembling. Sir, our log shows sensor anomalies dating back 19 rotations. We assumed background radiation. Rotsis's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. They were here before we arrived. Below, in Virex 9's council dome, Threx turned away from the display wall, jaw clenched. So you were never responding to the distress beacon? Drake nodded. Correct. We were already in position. Ambassador Velis narrowed her eyes. You used us. Bait. Drake didn't flinch. We used the situation. The beacon just gave us a timestamp. You let us suffer to draw them in. She snapped. No, he said, stepping closer. We let them overreach. That's how predators die, when they think nothing's watching. Threx said nothing. His eyes lingered on the stars now filled with Terran ships. How long have you been watching this sector? Drake paused. Since the Varnak Purge. 63 standard years. Noah blinked. You've just been observing? We left the game, but we never left the table. Across the system, Terran comm relays activated. Jamming fields blanketed Zyrak space. Communication between their ships flickered then died. Weapon systems short-circuited. Propulsion failed. Their fleet froze in place, helpless. In the dark, Betty's cheerful voice echoed through the Terran bridge. All hostile systems are in deep lockdown. It was surprisingly easy. Their encryption still uses linear handshake protocols. Cute. Drake smirked. Send the message. A moment later, every Zyrak vessel received the same transmission. Asterisk. Your war ends here. Surrender your command codes, power down your fleets, and return to orbit under Terran escort. Failure to comply will result in orbital correction. Asterisk. Rotsis slammed his fist into the console. They're threatening us with annihilation. His tactical officer paled. They're not threatening, sir. They've already won. Back on Virex 9, Velis crossed her arms. You claim to stand for peace. Yet you surround a species with weapons and crush their fleets before speaking. Drake didn't smile this time. Peace is not the absence of war. It's the ability to stop one before it starts. Noel's voice was soft. Why now? Drake finally looked tired. Because we hoped the galaxy would improve without us. But when the strong eat the weak just because they can. He looked skyward. It was time to return. Aboard Cruelty's Dawn, Rotsis received one final transmission, private, encrypted, and unmistakably human. The screen flickered to reveal Drake's face once more, lit by the soft glow of Terran command lights. General, I'm going to offer you one chance. Lower your fleet. Power down. Go home. You can't dictate terms. Rotzes spat. Drake shrugged. Oh, I can. But I'd rather suggest them. Makes it sound more civil. The general bared his fangs. You are a relic of a decaying race. Drake's eyes turned cold. And you just picked a fight with a graveyard full of tacticians who got bored waiting. Betty chirped. I've tagged their war council transport. Shall I initiate extraction? Drake paused, then nodded. Do it clean. In an instant, the Zyrak War Council shuttle, parked near the edge of their fleet, was ripped from its orbit by a directed gravity tether. No fire. No warning. Just sudden, silent capture. One moment it existed. The next, it sat in containment aboard a Terran vessel. Drake turned to Vera. Make sure they're comfortable. Diplomatic detainees, not prisoners. For now. Governor Threx, watching the entire exchange from the council room, folded his hands. You were always more dangerous than they claimed. Drake gave him a wry look. That's why we left. Everyone was either terrified or trying to make us gods. Neither felt sustainable. And now? Now we're back. Not to rule. Not to conquer. But to remind. Velis looked skeptical. Remind the galaxy of what? Drake finished his coffee, set the mug down, and replied. That even predators should watch their backs. From space, the Terran fleet began subtle repositioning. No shots fired. No explosions. Just precise formation shifts, geometric, inevitable. To every listening world in range, humanity's presence wasn't loud. It was patient. Inevitable. The Zyrak began transmitting surrender protocols. Later, as night returned to Virex 9 and fires were finally doused, Null approached Drake outside the temporary command tent. You could have destroyed them. I could have, he agreed. But you didn't. Drake looked up at the stars. Tactical power is knowing when not to use it. She watched him for a long moment. You're not like the stories. He gave a crooked smile. Good. Stories tend to exaggerate. Newell glanced at the sky. What happens now? Drake's eyes narrowed. Now? We clean up. We reset the board. And then... He paused. We wait for the next scream. Virex 9 was quiet. No more sirens. No plasma strikes. No Zyrak threats snarled through the comms. Just a burned sky gradually clearing, and a population that didn't know whether to feel relieved or terrified. In the stillness, Governor Threx stood at the edge of the crater where the primary shield array had once been. Its twisted metal ribs jutted from the earth like a skeleton of failure. Captain Elias Drake stood beside him, hands in his coat pockets, watching engineers unpack temporary stabilizers from the shuttle. I thought, Threx said quietly, if the day ever came, humans would return with flags and declarations. You came with silence and sarcasm. Drake smiled faintly. The flag seemed a bit much. We found silence does the trick better. Threx turned, his face tired but curious. You had the power to obliterate them. You chose not to. Drake met his gaze. We didn't come to end civilizations. Just bad habits. In orbit, the Terran fleet lingered like shadows. The Zyrak warships had been fully disarmed, drifting helplessly under watch. Their commanders, stripped of command, were escorted onto neutral transports. Not chained, monitored ***. The distinction was intentional. Lieutenant Commander Vera monitored the fleet's comms. No retaliation signals. No resistance. Drake's voice came over the link. Give them a path out. Let them save face. Cornered animals lash out. Broken pride walks away. Vera hesitated. And the council prisoners? They'll be offered terms. Trials. Not executions. She nodded once. Understood. In the main plaza of the capital, humans and Virex citizens mingled cautiously. Children peeked from behind shelters, watching Terran officers distribute supplies and set up medical posts. Nobody cheered. Nobody clapped. But nobody ran either. Newell moved among them, her tablet displaying infrastructure schematics. She pointed out key damaged areas, and the humans listened without interruption. They asked precise questions, replied with dry wit, took no pictures, left no emblems. At one point, she paused near a group of Virex engineers, whispering, "They don't act like saviors. They don't think they are," said Threx behind her. "That's the most dangerous kind." Later, in a converted council chamber turned command room, a transmission played across every major relay in the sector. The feed was simple: Drake at a table, speaking evenly, hands folded. "To the peoples of this region. The Zyrak occupation is over. Terran forces will remain present only as long as necessary for stabilization. No territory will be annexed. No demands will be issued. We are not here to conquer. We're here because no one else stopped them." He leaned forward slightly. "But be clear. If we see another purge, another genocide, another empire built on ash, we'll come back. And next time, we won't bring coffee first." Galactic news relays exploded within hours. Humanity returns after 100 years. Terrans decloak across sectors. Zyrak routed in 48 hours. Peace or power? What do the humans want? Asterisk asterisk. Across dozens of worlds, reactions were chaotic. Some cheered. Some rioted. Some prayed. But most just watched the skies, wondering how long those black ships had been hiding in the dark. In a quiet hangar aboard the Kindly Go Away, Captain Drake stood alone beside a small observation window, sipping the last of his thermos. His eyes tracked the planetary surface far below. Vera joined him silently, holding a datapad. "Command confirms, reconstruction protocols initiated. We've been ordered to disengage within 48 hours. He nodded. Vera hesitated, then asked, "Do you think they understand now?" Drake took a long breath. "They will. Maybe not today. Maybe not even this cycle. But fear sticks. And memory is slow poison." She tapped the glass. "Some of them are already calling us monsters. Ghosts in black. We've been called worse," he said. "But if they're afraid of monsters, they'll think twice before becoming them." On the planet, in the quiet after chaos, Sub-Commander Newell sat alone on a stone ledge, staring at the sky where stars had returned. She didn't flinch when Drake sat beside her. "You said you'd been listening," she murmured. "To us. All this time?" He nodded. "For longer than you know. Why didn't you step in sooner?" Drake looked down at his hands. "Because we don't fix every fight. That's not peacekeeping, it's control. We waited until the lines were clear. Until evil wasn't just probable, but proven. And what if you're wrong next time?" He smiled softly. "Then we'll own it. But we'd rather risk guilt than silence." She looked at him, thoughtful. "You don't sound like a warrior." "Good," he said. "I've fired more warnings than bullets. That's how I know which ones matter." As Terran ships slowly powered down and prepped for departure, the planet exhaled. No speeches. No parades. Just reconstruction crews and exhausted survivors moving forward. A final message was left behind in the relay towers, a Terran protocol, automated and clean. Asterisk: if this world is ever threatened again, speak clearly into the beacon. We will hear you. Asterisk. No signature. No emblem. Just a signal. A promise. Back aboard his ship, Captain Drake entered his quarters. He set the empty thermos on the desk. It bore a single sticker, aged and faded. "Earth, we'll call you when it's safe again." He looked at it for a moment, then tapped a control panel. "Betty?" "Yes, Captain?" "Set course for Sector 12. Begin passive scan. Listen for anything unusual." "Unusual like genocide? Or unusual like someone named their warship Snugglebucket again?" Drake smiled tiredly. "Both. But especially the second." "Understood." Course plotted. Peacekeeping coffee restocked. The engines hummed to life. The stars shifted. Captain Drake leaned back in his chair. Let's go find the next scream,